Welcome to the Getaway, a game show where 6 creators took a road trip to win money for a team called the Loyals and vote out the one snitch among them who's sabotaging the whole thing. The twist? We went ahead and told every player they were the snitch.
Snitch.
Why? In the words of our EP Ben.
And we thought that would be funny.
But it wasn't easy. See, we made one big decision early on. We didn't want to lie to our players. Mislead them, sure. Omit key details, with pleasure. But we wouldn't definitively say, out loud or in writing, that there was only one snitch. It had to be possible that they could catch on. Here's how we got away with it. The long con started months before when we reached out to potential players with an extremely vague description of the show. Social strategy game show, dash of deception, road trip, cash prize. We promised repeatedly that they'd learn the full rules and other players on set, ostensibly because we didn't want any pre-game strategy or alliances, but actually because we didn't want to give them time to think about the game too hard or read the rules too closely. They knew almost nothing until our first meeting in Vegas, under 24 hours before the game began. We started the day with a meeting we said was strictly to cover practicalities. Welcome, everyone. Howdy.
Hello. Hi, Sam.
Let's get right into it. Today, we basically want to go over basically day-to-day logistics. This meeting would barely fit into its hour and start at 12:30 p.m., meaning anyone who asked questions at the end would extend the meeting into their lunch break, which felt like a solid deterrent. Every player got a packet of logistics and set rules, dense enough to create the impression that any questions they had likely had answers in there, and thus there was no need to ask. We also emphasized that this meeting was not where the contestants would get the full rules. That would happen later. I'm sure y'all, of course, wondering all about the rules. As I mentioned, we'll go over into a bunch more detail after this. On our end, we went into this meeting with 3 ulterior motives. 1, create the impression that there was only one snitch. There'll be 7 envelopes. Inside 6 of these envelopes will be the assignment reading loyal. Inside 1 of those envelopes will be an assignment reading snitch. While dodging any stray questions. Our terms, loyal, snitch. Got it? We're gonna...
The snitch or snitch?
Huh?
The snitch or snitch? Or does it not matter?
It doesn't matter, yeah. 2, convince them that this Miss Terry thing mattered and bog them down with details.
So the point of the thing is just really give you more information than you need on the lore so that you just know how to talk about stuff and it sounds real. The first known crime attributed to Miss Terry was in 1979. It was a vending machine theft at a high school in Cheyenne, Wyoming. She stole the Declaration of Independence. No, she didn't. But most people assume the national treasure was based on her. She's occasionally discovered some among her accomplices over the years. Wasn't a happy ending for them. 3, prevent as many questions as we could. We kept our players and ourselves on a pretty tight schedule the whole day. I'm sorry to cut in, we have a lot to get through.
Sorry.
Anytime they saw a crew member around, we were busy. Hauling props and equipment, rushing somewhere, having some meeting in a corner. Were they going to interrupt these busy people with a question, throw off our schedule, or would they take advantage of downtime when they had it? That said, if they did ask questions, we were ready. If a player hypothetically asked,
Sam, I'm the only snitch, right?
we'd say, technically that's a game design question, I guess, so we have to answer it together, but, premise of the show, right? Which is true. The premise of the show hinges on the impression that there's only one snitch. Or we'd say there's one snitch assignment, which is also true. We just gave that assignment card to everybody. Which brings us to the next crucial moment of our prep day, each player's role assignment meeting.
Which one of these is mine? Great.
Welcome. So while they frame up, I have the rules document for you.
Okay.
This would cover all the game's rules and mechanics, and we tell each player they were a snitch, hoping they'd think they were the snitch. We said in the big meeting that we'd give each player an envelope with their name on it,
some nice font,
and an assignment inside that they would show to the camera.
Okay.
Oh, it's a tense moment.
There were loyal assignments, as we said, we just didn't give them to anybody. Once they had their assignment, we gave them the Snitch Guide, a doc we wrote up to explain the snitch's roles and incentives. We made a real show of collecting the snitch assignment and guide back for them so as not to risk their getting caught. Also, actually take that back. We definitely don't want you found.
Yes, please, no evidence.
I just realized we need the envelope back. We don't want that on your person.
No, please, God, no.
Maybe actually.
Oh yeah, the snitch guide. Yeah.
I just take photos of
Maybe
it.
just take photos of it. Do you have like a hidden album in your phone or something that you could
Yeah, that's true.
recommend?
So you should probably just like photograph it and put it in like a hidden folder on your phone.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Like, do you have like a hidden folder or something in your phone?
Yeah, where do you keep your notes?
And what I could actually give you, we do have the equivalent for loyal. I can give you one of those, and then you have that on your person in case you drop anything. It'd be good for you to drop this. So this is actually the version for loyal. So I can give you this, and then that's on your person in case.
Yeah.
Ooh, you really good at this. You should have been a snitch.
That's the loyal guide, a completely useless doc that describes the loyal's role.
Actually,
The snitch. Wow.
There's this quote from Teller of Penn and Teller that goes, "Sometimes magic is just someone spending more time on something than anyone else would reasonably expect," and we were really leaning into that. Our hope was that players wouldn't expect us to write a guide for a role that didn't exist, or a bunch of unused assignment cards, or take a picture of each of them acting as a puppet master of all the other players to turn into 6 separate posters, or individually tell them each they were the perfect snitch. We knew that you loved this type of game, and picked accordingly. We thought that you would, we know what you like to do in your free time, which is
It's true, it's
play a lot of like strategy-ish games, right? We did think that your background might lead to you being a good, good for this role. Probably somewhat obvious why we thought you'd be good at this, but obviously like card counter, and also you're a magician. You know how to do like misdirection, and you're very charismatic. We thought you might be able to kind of charisma your way to success with everyone.
Dan, we thought you would be a perfect snitch.
So having done all of that, our players accepted the show at face value. Aside from the one close call with Georgia, we didn't get any dangerous questions before we hit the road. By the time we went to bed on prep day, every player thought they were the one and only snitch. But that doesn't mean our job was done. It was possible, even likely, that over 5 days of near constant hanging out with each other, both on camera and off, our players might piece together what was going on. But if that was going to happen, we needed to know about it, and we needed it on camera. To that end, under the banner of keeping the game fair and the rest periods useful, players who hadn't yet been eliminated were under some pretty strict rules.
First one, only discuss the game, the challenges, your strategy or your suspicions, or any other game-related matters on set while cameras are rolling. Did we all get that?
This guaranteed that we got whatever footage was needed for the show, and meant that at any time they were talking about the game, we could hear them, since their microphones transmitted to a speaker in the production RV and our producer's earpieces.
This is not me saying I agree or whatever. Totally you're sitting here.
If anyone so much as whispered that they thought there might be multiple snitches, we would know. Enforcing this no off-camera game talk rule meant creating what affectionately became known as the babysitting rule. Anytime 2 or more non-eliminated players were with each other, at lunch, walking to the car, in a hotel, whatever, they had to be accompanied by a Wendover employee. Adam, Alex, Amy, Ben, Christine, Corinne, Tristan, or myself. And if the conversation drifted towards the game, we'd redirect. And while this was all a little, extreme, we knew it was what it would take to get away with, well, the getaway. The show needed to be breakable, but not before it started. We needed to trick everyone, but leave the door open for them to realize it. We needed production to be a beatable player, but we wanted to stack the chips in our favor. This is Vegas, after all. But thanks to careful planning, professional levels of commitment to the bit from our entire production crew, not to mention the grace and kindness of our sweet, sweet players, it worked. We made everyone the snitch, never said we didn't, and they all believed us. Well, at least for a minute.
We're all snitches, aren't we?